Hello and welcome to the Live Like a Pro podcast. My name is John Allen Mollenhauer. My friends call me John Allen or by my initials JAM, and I hope you will too. This is the audio podcast that I put up exclusively on YouTube at my personal professional channel, largely because this is really not the podcast where I'm actually interviewing other people and where you can discover the secrets of healthy, high-achieving people who thrive, or actually interview other professionals, other experts, other CEOs, other entrepreneurs, people who are living what we refer to as a performance lifestyle. Here, I really talk about, what gave rise to performance lifestyle. This is sort of like an inside track for those who really want to listen, and it's purely audio. This is an opportunity for me really just to talk straight into the mic and just lay out there like what gave rise to this new lifestyle that again we refer to as performance lifestyle. This is where you can kind of see like what went into actually developing performance lifestyle, and I can share a lot of personal stories. I have this need, not just to interview people and extract all these great insights, but a large part of what went into developing performance lifestyle was really my journey as an entrepreneur in the last, and what I learned from that experience, and the forces bearing down on me that were causing burnout, that were causing me to essentially trade my health for success, and peel back the onion on all the fundamentals of performance lifestyle as we organize them today over a 20-year period. So it's really about what I learned from that whole experience. So when you're listening to a podcast here on this particular channel, you're getting just, inside story. You're just getting, 20, 30-minute insights into what gave rise to the performance lifestyle. So today, I'm going to build on my last podcast where I talked about, my experience over a 20-year period of time about how I went from venture to venture to venture to venture. Now, it's got to be understood that the people who live a performance lifestyle, the people who develop a lifestyle that supports them and what they're up to in the world, they're driven by the fact that they're typically people who are in highly responsible positions, meaning they have a lot of demand on their time and energy, and that typically lends itself to entrepreneurs and business professionals, typically people who have kids, so they're raising families. So they got, you got family, you've got what you're up to in your business or career, and you've probably got a drive for either some kind of weekend warrior at the very least, or sporting or creative pursuit. So basically your people, the people who have fully engaged lives are the people who are mostly drawn to a performance lifestyle. It's why I was driven to develop the idea of a performance lifestyle, where I might have mentioned in my last podcast that I really discovered in elite athletics, because I was looking for a big idea, an idea that could bridge the gap between health and success, where a lifestyle concept that could represent a broader skill set than what would typically be discovered in ideas like a fitness lifestyle or a healthy lifestyle, right? Fitness usually is about fitness. You'll learn a little bit about nutrition, sleep's an afterthought, and you're basically just working out. A healthy lifestyle is where nutrition really comes to the forefront. Being active is certainly a part of that, but you start paying attention to other aspects of lifestyle, like maybe getting sun or getting sleep or managing your emotions. But a performance lifestyle really, goes well beyond health and wellness, and it's really about human performance. In other words, it's a model, an approach to living for fully engaged people where all the core essentials of human performance are dialed in, so that you're able to perform at very high levels, so that you're able to respond to stress in ways that don't create more stress and actually allow you to recover and get your energy back and stay healthy and achieve your goals all at the same time. So in other words, it's a lifestyle that's not divorced, where health and wellness, where your energy and your health are not divorced from what you're up to in the world. Because like what really was driving me all those years? I mean, people wake up to be successful, right? I grew up in a time period in the 80s and 90s where there was this huge change quake of opportunity in the world, and I was naturally an entrepreneur. So man, I went for it. I played big, and I'm not going to go into all the different ventures and things that I was doing, in the genesis of developing performance lifestyle to date. I did that in my last podcast. But I was driven by opportunity. I was driven. It was like the gold rush in a way when the internet launched in 1995, and I really wanted to strike out into this new unknown territory and build something, and I did. But man, it was just such a heady time period, and if you listen to that podcast, you'll notice that I started in this mode of overachievement since my early teens. So by the time I was in my 20s and 30s, at the time when opportunity was at its highest, I was on a bit of a weak footing because I was already, I had overspent my energy just way too much. So in a performance lifestyle, fast forward, in a performance lifestyle, we're really the crux is we're putting a tremendous amount of emphasis. I'm not saying focus, because focus is on what you're up to in the world. All right, we're putting emphasis on managing our energy and understanding energy, because energy is at the root of all human performance. Once energy goes, I mean, if it goes all the way, you're not alive. But once energy starts to wane, human performance starts to suffer. And we're really, in our lives today, we're really taught this sort of biochemical fueling approach or context for energy. It's you could skip sleep, but as long as you're taking energy drinks and drinking coffee, etc., you can keep yourself going. Yeah, to your own degradation, because your life force is the number one thing keeping you going. That is you, and that's what's powering the way. That's what powers all human capacities, all human performance. It's what enables you to stay healthy. Then things like food, which is most definitely a source of energy, but it's a secondary source of energy. Performance lifestyle is firmly rooted in your primary source of energy. Your primary source of energy, which is really, look, can't say it any other way. It's electrons and photons. It's light. It's electricity. It's bioenergetics. Right? It's the, like a car, you can put premium fuel in a car, but if you don't have a sound battery, your dashboard lights are dim, you can't start as fast, it takes a while to turn over, and there's so many aspects of the physical engine that are dependent on electrical currents. Fuel alone doesn't do it. So it's very much the same way with human beings. We are energy beings. We are electrical beings. We are powered by electrons. We are powered by electricity. And the reason why people hit the wall, the reason why people arrive at bad attitudes, the reason why people, may not make sound decisions, the reason why they may opt for, a career versus starting that business that they envision, is typically at the most fundamental level. It comes down to just how much energy, how much spark they feel. Do I have enough juice to do it all? And man, when you're an entrepreneur, you got so many demands on your time, but you have more demands on your energy. Like, it's a constant energy drain. And unless you're living a lifestyle that's supporting you and what you're up to in the world, you could very, very easily burn out. And the entrepreneurial road is very, very difficult. I mean, unless you have a significant enough revenue generating event very early in the development of a business, for example, where you have got the resources to build out a team, and you've got the financial resources to build out a team. Typically, entrepreneurs of any kind, whether you're a driven business professional, basically in your own business, managing a family, and anything that you do outside of that, you have just tremendous amount of demands on your energy levels. And this is the challenge. This is not only a life challenge, But it is a business and career challenge. It's human energy. And unless you have a lifestyle that's really supporting you and what you're up to, where you've got all of these, um, the principles and the practices and an overall lifestyle strategy that enables you to manage your energy effectively amidst this relentless demand that's bearing down on you, you will consistently hit the wall. And I think that's what happens to so many people today. We hit the wall, and we live in this unseen downward spiral where tiredness turns into exhaustion, which turns into fatigue, which turns into emotional burnout and other forms of burnout, right? That distract and hold us back from really fully engaging and really showing up in what we're up to in the world. And we default to food, and we default to exercise, and we default to all these other modalities that are tangible and that you can easily productize, but don't really solve the underlying problem, which is you're probably overspending your energy. Now, if you listen to that first podcast, I was doing that constantly in my life. And man, I thought something was wrong with me. I could never quite put my finger on what the actual problem was. Man, I went to every seminar you can imagine. I went to, did emotional work. I did psychological work. And all of it was good, by the way. All of this was, essentially optimization. I was part of the Mankind Project. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but the Mankind Project's a group of about 45,000 men worldwide. I spent 10 years in that organization alone, just bucketing out, stuff that had never been processed when I was early on, and it in and of itself was sucking a lot of energy on me. And I felt freer and better, but still, amidst the demand of all the demands as a family man, as a businessman, as a career professional, I still was, behind the scenes, not feeling that energetic self that I used to feel, and which was always tired all the time. And as you know, tiredness leads to exhaustion, fatigue. It leads to burnout, but it leads to wearing your body out. And when your body wears out, that's when you basically speed the process to dying out early, because we end up in that state coping with stress in ways that make us feel good, but actually put more stress on the body. And man, that is the shit that needs to stop. The whole lifestyle optimization movement that's going on. We refer to it as lifestyle optimization because lifestyle is the elephant in the room. It's the one thing that is at original cause to the results that we get in our lives, right? It's the all-encompassing term that everything rolls up to, right? Lifestyle is usually at the cause of what's happening. Now, you could simply say, well, I have so many forces bearing down on me, and that's the original cause. So overexertion might be the cause of why I'm tiring out. And you'd probably be correct. You could make a very sound argument for that. But in your lifestyle, if you've really got a performance lifestyle context for lifestyle, not just living healthy and implementing just a few elements of lifestyle, but you understand the broader curriculum of what a performance lifestyle is, well, then you've got the tools to streamline and simplify your life. So we look at it as, to get out of overwhelm. So we look at it as lifestyle is at the root cause of how you look, feel, and perform, your energy, your health, and your performance. We refer to it as a performance lifestyle because even energy and health are precursors to human performance. And this is a human performance model, right? Performance lifestyle is the application of all the essential elements of human performance, what we refer to as the core essentials of human performance. Now, of course, very few of us are equipped with this, which is why I think I struggled for so long, right? Which is why I was driven to develop this big idea. When you're in your teens, you're not taught the fundamentals of successful living. The most you learn about lifestyle growing up is maybe the 4 food groups. And the 4 food groups aren't even accurate. The 4 food groups, if you lived according to the 4 food groups your whole life, which is really, by the way, not really a nutritional framework, it's really an economic framework for different industries selling their products, albeit it's healthier than maybe the standard American diet, right, which is filled with all kinds of, processed and refined foods and, junk foods, if you will. Um, Granted, if you followed the 4 food groups, you'd probably be a little bit better off, but it is by no means representative of an optimal way to eat. But just learning about nutrition and maybe exercise, through gym class, that's all you really learn about when it comes to lifestyle growing up. And of course, your parents are reinforcing you to get off, the video games. I mean, in my generation, we didn't really have video games other than Pong, and they never really consumed our lives the way Fortnite does with my 12-year-old today, right? So we were outside and we were playing, so we were active, and we had those natural elements more fixed into our way of life. But in terms of lifestyle, we really didn't learn much. And then all of a sudden, you go headstrong into your career at 21, and you're working 12 to 14 hours a day, and you're like, God, why am I so tired all the time? So, we really didn't learn much about lifestyle at all. But, there's all types of education out there they're going to teach you how to be more productive, and they're going to teach you to be more efficient, and how to handle all this technology, and how to will your way through, and mostly personal development. And personal development is great. It helps us cope with life a lot better. It helps us to think better. It helps us to grow. It helps us to become more aware and to develop our person, our body, mind, and personality, which is all great. But it's still not lifestyle. And lifestyle is the central theme that our work is really based on. And we don't come across really as a health and wellness company, even though health and wellness is more than Trojan horsed right into the idea, because you can't function as a human being at a high level unless you are managing your energy and you're staying healthy. But we don't necessarily, sell this whole idea as a health and wellness idea. We really sell it as a human performance idea. And we spend a lot of time on all of these fundamentals. But because I think you learn it in the context of being successful, that people view performance lifestyle a little differently. Matter of fact, a lot differently. And that was the context that I learned it in. Well, I used to be in the gym business, and I've spent a lot of time in the realms of health and wellness. I was always a performance guy. I was always an entrepreneur. And the reason why I think I was so attracted to the idea of developing that we later called performance lifestyle was because, I essentially wanted it all. I wanted to be able to live a hard-charging life. I wanted to be able to realize my ambitious goals. But at a certain point, I didn't want to burn out. I didn't want to trade my energy and my health for that success. I didn't want to be that poster boy who was constantly dealing with fatigue, having to down another cup of coffee. Believe me, I went down that route for a period of time. Down another cup of coffee, eat, stimulate my way through the day, try to wedge in some health and wellness ideas in the middle of my extremely busy day, which never ends, and then wake up only to have to do it all over again. I mean, that scenario is at the root of almost all mental illness. Matter of fact, Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist who really came on the scene in the last 3 to 4 years. I haven't listened to him a lot, but I've listened to him enough to where there was one statement he made that just really captured my attention. And he said, he's a psychologist, and he said, people don't come into my office because they have mental health issues. For the most part, some people do, but for the most part, people don't really come into my office for mental health issues. They come into my office because they have unmanageable lives. And man, that really, really hit home for me, because for decades, I had lived an unmanageable life. I used to go after, as I, again, refer back to my last podcast, I was going after these very big goals, but I didn't quite have the footing and the array of supports that I needed to achieve those ambitious goals at the level that they could have gone to. And do so without trading my energy. I mean, you're always trading some energy, but I'm talking about without burning out or trading my health for success, right? So you're always, at the end of the day, when you die, you're going to essentially, Elvis leaves the building. Your life force is done, right? It's not that you didn't have access to more life force, but you essentially wore out the body. And I didn't want to be that guy who was going to wear out my body, let alone in my 20s and 30s or 40s or 50s. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to, to feel that way. I didn't want to look that way. I didn't want to function that way. So my drive to develop performance lifestyle was largely influenced by getting out of this place where I felt like I had an unmanageable life. And look at almost all of the media that you hear about. They're talking about overwhelm, talking about depression, talking about fatigue, talking about email and its role, and smartphones and its role and its impact, and all these consequences that are happening as a result of our 24/7, 365, never-ending content, never-ending access to technology. Gone is the buffer zones, the 8 hours of daytime, 8 hours of lifetime, and 8 hours of sleep time that we were used to for so many years, reinforced by the way people worked. Now we're in this all-access opportunity where we're dealing with this paradox. We've got access to more information and opportunity than at any other time in history, but at the same time, the busier we get, the less time we have to take care of ourselves, our bodies, and our lives. And it's having a huge impact on just how we look, how we feel, how we perform, our mental health, our physical health, right? So that's why I think we're experiencing. I got in on the game very early. I'm only really now talking about it in a more consistent way because I'm on the other side of the problem of an unmanageable life. And by the way, I say that to say that, believe me, my life is pretty darn full. So it's always challenging, but my life's not unmanageable. And there's a big difference between the two, right? When you're getting overwhelmed and sunk by what's going on in your life versus it being challenging. And that's what a performance lifestyle enables you to do, right? I have a handle now on the fundamental skills of lifestyle, the essential skills of lifestyle, of successful living, such that, I can respond to stress in ways that don't create more stress versus in ways that do create more stress, which is what 97% of the population does. That's what the strivers do. That's what the overcommitted underperformers do. That's what the high achievers do. They tend to respond to stress in ways that create more stress, and they will their way through, but they never really become that healthy, high-achieving person who thrives, right? Energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally, right? Spiritually, and successfully in their life. They're usually trading one for the other because they just don't have the array of supports that they need to be the healthy, high-achieving person who thrives. And that's essentially what we're helping you do in performance lifestyle training. We're expanding your awareness to a much broader idea. We're educating you on lifestyle, but expanding your awareness to a much broader set of fundamentals that we help you dial all of them in so that you can dial all of them in and actually have the supports so that it's no longer a mystery as to why certain people are able to achieve at such a high level in their life and not burn out or trade their health for success, where they're distracted and held back by hidden lifestyle challenges that are very rarely addressed in the market. It just comes right back to, hey, you gotta get your psychology better. You gotta get, okay, yes, eat better, maybe exercise, get more sleep, but you gotta get your psychology better. You gotta be a winner, right? That kind of approach to solving a lifestyle problem never really solves a lifestyle problem, okay? Because you can take an elite athlete who is tired out and they have been trained in sports psychology probably the largest good portion of their whole life, and they still won't function and perform at the level that they're capable of just because they simply don't have the power, right? And that turns into a downward trending series of consequences that can be very difficult for people to get out of. I mean, look at Tiger Woods. I mean, he went into a downward spiral for almost a decade, and he had to work his way out. But we don't want it to take a decade, right? I've been through a decade in my life where I went sideways or down, And ultimately, I got to a point where I don't want those dips anymore, and I don't even want to get to a place where I get into that dip, because that kind of dip is very, very difficult to come out of if you are not highly skilled. And people just learning how to eat, or just learning how to exercise, or just learning a little bit about sleep here and there, they do not have the skills. They do not have the skills to be a healthy, high-achieving person who thrives. And by the way, I'm not talking Richard Branson type wealth. I mean just staying energetically sound, disease-free and vibrant, peace of mind, and being able to function and perform at the level that you need to as a parent, in whatever you're up to in the world, career-wise or business-wise, right? You don't have to be a billionaire to be a high-achieving person, right? If you ran a paper route, but you did it really well and it wasn't crushing your life, you're technically a high achiever. Now, of course, the people I'm talking to are not running paper routes, but I'm using that extreme example as an example. Whatever it is you're up to, you're a financial planner, you're a marketing person, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur of any kind, a real estate broker, whatever it is you do, if you do it well and you're able to function and perform well without tiring out, burning out, and wearing yourself out, where you end up coping with stress in ways that create more stress and more distress for you, where you're attempting to crush it but getting crushed by excess stress and fatigue. If you're that person, you don't yet have a performance lifestyle. What I'm saying is I want you to become the person who crushes it without getting crushed by excess stress and fatigue. And to do that, you need to have a wider array of supports in your life. And we learn these as skills. I had to, over the course of 25 years, peel the onion back one by one by one by one by one to get all of these fundamentals of successful living dialed in my own life. And it is it's the lifestyle optimization protocol or process that we really communicate in all of our trainings and coachings here at Performance Lifestyle Inc., which is my company, right? But it took me 25 years to pull that together. So I know most people have never connected these dots. I know from experience. I know how long it took me. And I know most people do not do that. But it changes your life, because having a lifestyle that supports you and what you're up to in the world will give you the fundamental skills to navigate from where you are to where you want to be, because you naturally wake up to be successful every day. But you cannot wake up to be successful every day and have the management of your own energy and the maintenance of your own health, which gives you the ability to function and perform well, be this paralleling way of life only when you hit the wall and land yourself into problems. It's got to be all built into the way you live your life. I didn't know how to do that. Chances are pretty good you don't wholly know how to do that. Look, we're all wise, smart people. If you're listening to a podcast like this, I'm sure you have learned a lot of good tips and tricks. But do you have your lifestyle fully dialed in to where it supports you and what you're up to in the world? I'm going to say I doubt it, and I don't want that to come across as I don't have confidence in your own abilities. But most of us just don't. We were just never taught this, and most people will spend 20 years just learning. Let me put it this way. You're doing every aspect of performance lifestyle right now, but you're probably doing it unconsciously and doing it at such a low level that you don't actually get the results that you hear so much about, but so few people actually experience, right? So, sleep is a great example. I mean, sleep is 1/3 of your life. I mean, it is the power player in your life. It's what gives your wakeful hours power. But if you're doing it 5 hours a night, you're doing it at such a low level that you don't actually get the power of sleep and its impact that it could have in your life, right? So if it's in performance lifestyle training, it is a fundamental of successful living. So therefore, you'd have to be doing it to some degree right now. But because your mindset around lifestyle is probably fragmented, probably taking you in a bunch of different directions, and it's not, organized into a context that you can implement, chances are very good that you're very lax across many of the fundamentals of successful living. And that needs to change. And if there's one thing you get out of this rant, is that needs to change. You need to dial them all in, and I'm talking to the level of 80 to 90%. I'm talking the B or the A. And if you want to be an A plus, that's when you really get into the upper echelon, of that's where you get the degrees on your black belt, right? That's where you're fighting for inches, but you take optimization even further, and you can get up to that 90 to 95. Nobody gets to 100. I mean, there's just nobody up there. But if you could get your lifestyle fully optimized upwards to 80 to 90%, right? Most people today are probably at 20 to 30%, right? Just survivable amidst the life that we live. If you can get to 80 to 90%, oh my God, you are a different human being. And that's without even getting into personal development, right? I mean, you develop personally by virtue of performance lifestyle training and lifestyle optimization. You will certainly develop yourself personally. You will learn a ton. But I mean, I'm talking about the standard version of personal development, where you're learning communication skills, and you're learning, all concepts of various kinds, right? That give you the ability to think better. But what we're teaching here is how to live better. This is the new personal development. This is the most fundamental development that we could get. And when you dial in your lifestyle, man, you can now focus on what you're up to in the world. You can learn, you can apply, you can grow, you can expand far faster, far greater, and with a strength you've not experienced in a very long time, more than anything else. But if you are one of these people who are hopping around trying to get to the root of your problem, you're going to every personal development seminar, and you're wondering why after that seminar, after you've gotten pumped up, and you go home and you just feel like, now why can't I do it? It's because you haven't really dialed in the fundamentals of successful living. You've just learned really good information. And I will tell you that most of the information that you learn in the market, it's good, tactical, great information to have, but it needs a spine to attach to. It needs a central idea to attach to. And this is the biggest thing I've learned in my life. You got to dial in your lifestyle, and then all the tactical information. You've got to dial in the strategic, right? The overall lifestyle strategy that enables you to stay energetic, healthy, and perform at high levels. And then when you take in all this additional information, you're just those are the tweaks. Those are the things that give you the ability, to dial in the last 10%. Right? And you get even better. But you got to get that lifestyle dialed in. You got to develop what we call a performance lifestyle. So I'll stop there. I'm just building on my last podcast, and I'll continue in this vein for a little while, just talking about what really gives rise to a performance lifestyle, and to who it's really for. Frankly, it is, and I commit marketing heresy when I say this, that it is technically for everyone, because everyone technically needs to learn the fundamentals of successful living. But the people who are most attracted to a performance lifestyle are people who are fully engaged, or want to be fully engaged, or they're up to big things in their life and they need the lifestyle to support the level of performance that they need to succeed, or they tried that at some time period in their life in the past, and they're in a downward spiral and they want to correct course. And they want to know how to do that, how to break the vicious cycles and the downward spiral that's operating in the background that can be quite complex. And then when you go out to the market, everybody will say, you're a nail and everything's a hammer when you go out to the marketplace to try to solve a complex problem. No matter who you talk to, their solution is the thing. And then you could really kind of chase your tail for a lot of years trying to figure out what's distracting you and holding you back, and never really solve your problem. And what I'm here to say is where I started this podcast, which was, look, get your energy right first and foremost. All right, that's the crux. Put emphasis on getting your energy up, because I assure you that no matter what you're up to in the world, whatever challenges you're dealing with, whatever obstacles are in your way, right? Whether it's confusion, an unmanageable life, just an overwhelming schedule, poor mindset, poor thinking, right? Whatever aspect of lifestyle, of human performance is crushing you right now, your ability to deal with it, poor eating, lack of exercise. It doesn't make a difference what aspect of lifestyle. And trust me, I just gave you a few. If you get your energy up, if you make managing your energy, understanding energy, increasing your energy, recovering from the excess stress of the past, and you start to manage your energy going forward, you will be able to deal with all of that so much better. My name is John Allen Mollenhauer. My friends call me John Allen or Jam. You can reach me at my website, johnallenjam.com, and I look forward to ranting with you again soon.